Hello, YouTube viewers. It's Cynthia Michael bringing you my 89th podcast from my new home. Like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly in case you don't understand me. Also, like always, this podcast is brought to you by Screw You Productions. Now, let's get into this podcast. Red Wild Fourth Ranger Murderer. Now I know you guys already during the time the Super Bowl, the Red Force Wild Ranger who played Decker in Power Rangers Samurai, we're calling him whatever, the Junior, over the Super Bowl weekend. Had a little incident with his roommate. Now, you guys already heard this. Now, I already know that a lot of people are pointing about this. Honestly, I was not gonna do it, but but I'm just gonna put my two cents when I think about this story. Anyway, let's get back to the topic. And over the Super Bowl weekend, Ricardo and his roommate, according on the sources that I read, had an argument over something while Ricardo's girlfriend was pregnant in their apartment. Ricardo and his girlfriend according to the reports that this argument was pretty heated, so heated that Ricardo and his girlfriend had locked themselves into Ricardo's room. That's when Ricardo's roommate broke down Ricardo's room door. Apparently, Ricardo had these on his cell, so to threaten his roommate, threaten his roommate, threaten his roommate to ask him to leave his room. Now, it turns out that led to a big altercation that Ricardo had to sort on his roommate. So, by using the sword on his roommate was badly hurt. So, Ricardo and his girlfriend called 911, took him to the hospital, but Ricardo's roommate never made it. Now, according to the reports, Ricardo is not charged with murder until the police is investigating what happened in the apartment. Now, I like to know what the hell Ricardo and his roommate was arguing about. That's a good question. Maybe he didn't pay his rent. He left dirty dishes in the sink or something like that. But a lot of people seriously, but I really would like to learn some more details about what was the argument about Ricardo and his roommate. Also, a lot of people are saying Ricardo is a murderer, he's a murderer, blah, 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 he killed him on purpose, all that bullshit, but I don't really think so. Eventually, I say it's self-defense. Ricardo the caller walked away, he walked away to his roommate, after the big argument, the roommate, brought into his room, but Carter told us to get out of his room, so the roommate didn't wanted to hear that shit, he didn't want to leave, so he put on his samurai sword. Now, my roommate lawyer said if Carter was in a different state, he wouldn't have been charged with murder. What I mean by that, if she was a martial artist, he would be charged with murder. If he was in a different state, like, if you were basically martial artists are basically trained to use force, sometimes deadly force. So they were skilled anything as a deadly weapon. So basically, that's what my roommate says. He's really heartbroken at the moment over this news. But anyway, I say a self-defense. He didn't mean to kill him, the roommate came in his room, McCall had to defend himself and his girlfriend, so he picked up the sword and threatened his roommate, so the roommate didn't listen, so he had no choice but to use the sword on the roommate, he could just cut him, or something like that, but, unless something went wrong, but he tried to cover it up, him and his girlfriend, called 911, took his dumbass to the hospital, where he died, I speaking very ill about the death of McCall's roommate, but basically it is his fault he's dead, honestly, if someone put up a soundwire, so I need, honestly, you should back the fuck off. Now, anyway, so this is my 2 cents about this incident, about this incident, I think it's self-defense, basically he was in his right, white man to use deadly force to protect himself and his girlfriend. So this is my 2 cents about the situation. Like always, I'm not gonna say my first my usual saying. I'm just gonna say this. This is Senator Michael. Sign off. 1.